I lost my Louis Tully Canadian accent, and I sound like this now. An American broadcaster for news.
So did that just happen naturally from being here for a while, or?
I think it's because every time I tried to go into a voice session, they're like, what's wrong with your voice? Talk normal. It's like, I'll try. Just don't sound like myself, I guess, was the key. But, so I went back, lived in Ottawa for like a couple of years, and Ripping Friends was done production, and there was no plans to make any new ones because...
So tell me exactly what you were doing on Ripping Friends.
Okay, so it was literally scanning stuff in, cleaning up images. I did a little bit of like storyboard cleanup. The way at Spumco, the way things worked at that studio was I would do the job that they just ran out of budget for.
Okay.
So,
now, you were, like, I already, like, know what your drawings look like at that point. You were pretty good. So...
It was okay.
Is that...
You're being very generous.
When did you go... Like, I don't know what you were like before that then. Like, when you were school before you joined up at Spumco, because they, you know... It sounds like they hired you to intern before ever seeing your work.
Yes.
When did you get good?
I don't know. And I feel like I'm still not great. And I also feel like...
Which is crap.
No, it's like crap. I draw for fun. I draw things that...
Actually, with your permission, I want to post that picture that you drew with your son for the cover of this episode, if that's cool.
That was actually the first...
So you can all see that this guy can actually draw.
I'll draw for you now. Oh, wow, that's a really good Cigarettes to Cat.
Oh, thank you.
Man, you have that... You have, like, the soft... Like that under lip, like under the nose, like that lip ridge that is so hard to get with cigarettes, and that brings me back.
Oh,
so like that was one of my favorite characters, voiced by Eddie Fitzgerald, and you know Eddie Fitzgerald, right? Yeah. One of the last.
Have you seen Fitz on the show yet? We have a character based. He's just like a little kid Eddie.
Oh, really?
Fitz.
Has anyone done the voice yet, or have you? Or
I do the voice of the show.
Oh my god, what a dream! If you make a kid version of Mike Fontanelli, I'll do it. And we should have them talk.
That's tempting.
Every time I see Mike, he's like, "Hey, man, how's it going? You want to see my cool toy collection?"
I gotta have you do that voice for Ken.
Yeah.
But no, 45.
He adds like
two of our board guys have worked for John, and so like
Gabe
and Mike Polinsky.
Oh wow, yeah, you could.
Yeah, we have them as a board team, and so they threw this character in, and I'm like, we have to do it.
The last time I remember talking with Eddie Fitzgerald, one of the last things I remember him saying was, "Oh, you'll have to forgive my breath. I just had a glass of milk." I was like, all right, well, it's nice being friends with you. Yeah, I'll see you in a decade.
I think Eddie's just moved to Philadelphia.
Well, he did.
Yeah.
Just moved?
Or, like, not that long ago moved, at least.
I never really got to say goodbye, and it makes me sad. But, that the internship wrapped, and Ripping Friends wrapped.
Oh, so you did a voice on Ripping Friends. So how did that end up
That was
happening?
The first time I
how
ever...
How did Future Cat end up happening?
Oh, man, this is my favorite story to tell. If you guys know anything about CartoonBrew.com, there's a gentleman that operates that website named Amit Amiti, who also was a production manager at Spumco when I was working there. And we actually got along real great. And even then, he was doing like really cool cartoon magazines, Animation Blast.
I mean, despite how abrasive he is online, the one time I met him, he was really nice.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. I feel like he is, and I feel like whatever he does presently, it's been so long since I haven't actually visited that website in a very long time. I only visit it when he's attacking me personally, but and he's trying to throw me under the bus for something. But and maybe it's because I used his voice for Future Cat. Maybe this is where it's all coming from. So it was not my plan to do an impression of Amit for Future Cat. It was John's plan, and I always remembered the scratch because John never really fancies himself as like, I'm a horrible voice actor, but there's something about a non-voice actor's performance that you can't get. Like every time I try to reach for something, it often goes to like a kid that has zero experience, and that's the charm. It's like there's this unfiltered, I may be too polished for this role, but give it to someone that just started, and you have like these amazing reads that you would never get from someone that has been doing voiceover for 20 years. And John always... I always feel like all of his attempts at a voice are hilarious because they don't sound like anything. They don't sound like anything that I've ever heard. So when I heard the scratch dialogue for Future Cat, I was like, what are you doing? Like, what is this voice you've come up with? He's like, oh, it's my impression of a mead. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to do my impression of a mead for this character.
Okay, so he approached you, so he must have known you did voices.
Well, I was dying to do voices on anything, and I never got to do it during the internship. I had an audio cassette. It was like an album. It was 14 minutes long, my demo reel. I had no idea what to do. I was like, here's track 7 coming at you, Shaggy and Scooby. And it's like, why would anyone... I had no idea what I was doing. And it was all impressions, 0 original voices. And it's like, you know, these people are still alive doing these voices. Why would you even display... Like, it's great for fun, but... And I remembered I would always have the cassette. My duty at Spumco was always to make sure John's desk had all the pencils, everything was neat, and I would always put my audio cassette on his desk, and then later on through the course of the day, it would move closer and closer to the garbage can. I'd be crying, oh, I'm never gonna do voices on the show. It's like, no, you're gonna clean my desk. You're going to give me Diet Coke, and you're not going to ask me to do voices. And eventually he threw me a bone, and I did the voice of a tooth filling, a classic inanimate object character in a Spumco cartoon that puts on a fedora and has a briefcase.
Of course.
And can start talking all of a sudden. And I believe I was either it was a tooth filling and a tongue. Something that was ridiculous. In an episode I was the goat minister of propaganda, which was a French, happened to speak French Canadian, I guess. And Future Cat. That was the actual character, and it was from an episode called Man from Next Thursday. And he had a pet cat that could poop telepathically from across the room.
And sounded like a meaty. So he sounded like this. I'm a bit of a nerd, and I bash people on my website. Yeah, that was it. That was the voice.
For whatever reason, John thought it was hilarious to use that voice. And I'm not going to say no to trying new things. So, but yeah, that was a dream come true. And after that, I never heard from John for a year or two until I got a call from him again. And that whole time, I was just in Toronto, just hanging out, enjoying life. And then I get a call from him one day.
Now, did you meet Jessica during Adult Cartoon Party or during...
Yes.
Okay.
In 2003. 2003, 2004, more or less. And... yeah, that's when I get a call out of the blue after not hearing from him for a year and a half. Hey, it's John. I'm like, hi, hello, who is this? It's 2 a.m.
Of course it is.
Heavy breathing. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
Hi. It's who's this? It's John, do you want to work on a cartoon about a cat and a dog? And I was like, oh boy, what are you talking about?
We're doing a reboot of Schnookums and Me.
You in or you out? No, it was Ren and Stimpy, and it was specifically okay. There was a channel called the Nashville Network, then it was TNN, then it was called the New TNN, and then it was called Spike TV.
Right. Yes.
Spike TV, the first network for men. And they're like, we know what men want. They want 9 hours of Star Trek The Next Generation reruns. 9 hours. Followed by Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, which was a Japanese game show that was dubbed with American, which I loved.
That's the thing they show at Khan's Mongolian barbecue on repeat.
No. Really?
A loving adaptation of Takashi's Challenge.
Yes.
Oh, boy. And then Stripperella, which was Pamela Anderson's cartoon.
I remember that.
Gary the Rat, which was Kelsey Grammer's cartoon. And then Gay Ren and Stimpy. Right. And they're like, this is what men want. They want vulgar, out of the closet Ren and Stimpy. Are we taking a pizza break?
We are letting Luke...
Are we just going to plow through?
I think we are,
I
at
love
least for
it.
the moment.
Okay. If you're listening at home, Luke just left to get our pizza and wings.
If you're playing along at home, which I hope you are, because then you're going to have pizza and wings.
Yes. Collect your Magiswords now. Yeah, this is the time. This is the time where the logo pops up and you hop on your app. Yeah.
So was he contacting you about art at that point, or about doing the voice?
Oh no, he said. Yeah, so you'll work on the show, but just as a production manager, you don't get to do voices or draw, and I'm not gonna let you. And I was like,
then why was he
crying again?
Then why was he so forward about calling you for this?
God, that's just John's way. I don't know. I feel like he'll find out that you.
I need Bauza here to not do the stuff he wants to do.
I just think that it's maybe he has this funny game that he plays, and he knows that you want something.
He had many,
and again, I have all the respect in the world for him as an artist and even as a friend. They always say, never meet your hero, because you find... Let's just say, do you want me to get it? I can get it.
The guestiest of guests.
Let me get it.
We'll just say I'm going to write a really good book in due time.
Right.
7 pages. That's all I need to tell you everything about that studio.
First page just says, "What are you?"
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think it was ever a personal thing. I just feel like it was he knew what he wanted, and he knew what I was good at, and I was at the time I was eager always. I'm still eager and happy to be there, and organized somewhat, and play well with others. I think I was more or less a peacekeeper. I always say that I was the studio therapist. It's my joke.
Hey guys, here's what I'm thinking. Let's finish talking about Adult Cartoon Party, and then we'll take a pizza break.
I love the fact that the guy called exactly at the moment Eric started talking about the thing I was the most curious to hear about.
Yes, I mean, it was one of those things for me, working on Adult Party Cartoon, fan first. I was like, it's gonna be like working on a Fruity Pebbles commercial. It's not gonna be the Flintstones. Yeah. Trust me. I was like, it's gonna be as fast as a Fruity Pebbles commercial. You have to do it. You have to do it because it's friggin' Fred Flintstone.
I'm so happy that you had that foresight.
Yeah,
then.
it's
even as an eager guy who's gets to work on a new version of his favorite show. It's okay, this is working on a Fruity Pebbles.
I can also say it's being the guy that would put the first handful of dirt on a coffin at a funeral. I knew, because look, the best years of Spumco and the best years of Ren and Stimpy were always the first season and a half, 2 seasons. And it's because everyone that worked in the original Spumco were all the same age, practically, relatively. They all had the same gripes. They all worked on the same crap that they hated in the 70s and the 80s and even the 90s. That they proved a point with Ren and Stimpy, and they made something great, and that inspired artists like us to really cool expressions and learn how to draw and learn how to voice act. But every year of Spumco that happened after the split, for me, I could always see that it was a student-teacher situation, where John was always the teacher, and he attracts a bunch of young artists that want to learn, guys and girls alike. They want to learn from John, and it's tough. It's a tough thing to try to get his approval because he's such a perfectionist.
Right.
But
the rules change from day to day, too.
But who wouldn't want to work on a Fruity Pebbles commercial? Bonnie! Fred! Yeah, that's kind of what I equated it to. And, he did have people like Vincent Waller on board, amazing artists like Fred Osmond, Katie Rice, Nick Cross, Christy Gordon, Helder Mendonca. There's a lot of American and Canadian people that worked on the show. Ray Morelli, Gabe Swar, Luke Cormican, Robert Ryan Corey, I think, had some stuff in there. I'm not even sure.
And folks, if you Google these people, you will see all the amazing stuff that they've done since.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I worked with at that studio during my internship are all Matt Danner, gosh, there's like a lot. There's like a lot. Jerry DeJesus, he does like a lot of stuff for Teen Titans Go. Yeah, but with Adult Party Cartoon, it was like, my first question too was like, is Billy West going to come back to do Stimpy's voice? Because I know they had a bit of a falling out, and
a public one you could watch on the Howard Stern show.
yeah, it's you know, it's one of those things where you're kind of just like torn, because I know them both now. You know, I've worked with John and Billy, and I have the so much respect for both of them as performers, artists, and stuff like that. And they, you know, had reasons to do what they did. And again, a battle that happened when I was like 12.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, kind of crazy that you, in our industry, you grow up watching these people, and now you're working with them. You work with them all the time on Magiswords.
Yeah.
Townsend Coleman. You know what I mean? Like, some people like him. Rob Paulson. People like him. And I always remember telling Rob the first time, and Frank Welker too, it's like, man, I used to watch you after school. Like,
He's like, oh, thanks, Bauza. Thanks for making me feel 1,000,000 years old.
it's like, yeah, well, what an awesome career that we will have as voice artists, and that we will be able to do this when we're their age.
Being able to, we'll get into this more later, but being able to like share the mic with our heroes and like get their approval and stuff, it's kind of incredible.
It's so cool because we've done Magiswords now for how many episodes, and I actually watch people like Townsend and people like Rob watch the animatics, and people like Jess Harnell, and they watch the animatics, and they're amazed that, like, you know, you guys are coming up with this crazy stuff, and that's got to feel good for you.
It really does.
Yeah.
My favorite memory of that was Pete Holmes with Stairways and Spiders, because I was a storyboard revisionist, but I revised so much of that episode that like 2/3 of it was me by the time
and
it's
this
done.
is, you know, Luke's first gig in animation ever.
Oh wow!
So like I'm watching. I came in just because I wanted to see him do the stuff, and at some point he was like laughing so much. He's like, "Whoever did this storyboard just killed it," and I'm just gonna like me. You know,
early victory for Luke.
Yes,
take that victory. But to continue on with Adult Party Cartoon, because we don't want the pizza to get cold.
Right. So how far in did you end up finding out that you were going to be the voice of Stimpy?
Okay, so my question was, is Billy coming back? And again, fan first, you always want, it would have been a dream, right? To have them both back doing Ren and Stimpy, Johnny and Billy. But that was unfortunately not the case. Billy had already started working on Futurama and was doing Red M&M, so it's like that's like the biggest like payday ever. You're working on a Matt Groening cartoon, and you're like the spokesperson for this.
I could either continue having fun doing these things, or I could let John continue yelling at me.
Yeah. So I feel like there was a moment where I think John had reached out to Billy, and Billy just declined. So it was there. The role was there. I did not even think to offer myself as a voiceover artist at the time to even think that I could replace that character, because you know, you hear Bugs Bunny and you can kind of get to an area close to imitating that voice, or Daffy Duck, or Mickey Mouse. Stimpy's a bit of an odd character. Like, that's like a very unique voice that, you know, Billy created on the Stern Show as the Larry Fine impression.
Right.
And was kind of like, that was like, I always say that there are voice impressionists, and then there are the people like Billy that are code crackers. It's like they come up with the weirdest impressions. Like, once Jay Moore kind of did like a Christopher Walken, everyone figured it out.
Right.
Right? And that became like... And
or
then
like
with
Dana Carvey doing George Sr.
Yeah, George Bush. Or like people doing Morgan Freeman now. Or, you know, Matthew McConaughey. Who the hell does a Larry Fine impression?
Right.
No one. And Billy did it, and he made that one of the most iconic sounding characters ever in the history of animation. So he says no, and John's like, I guess we're gonna have to audition more people. And there were people that did audition for it, and there is a full episode. I think there may have been 2 actors that had stepped in before I stepped in. And I have the episode cut. The first episode was Onward and Upward. and I have a version of it with the actor that was hired. He's no longer with us. Rest in peace.
Oh, okay. Let me ask you this. You shouldn't... I know you can't tell me while we're recording this. Is this person, if you were to name this person to me, would I know who they were?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
I'll tell you when we stop recording. I may even forward you the episode.
No,
it's very unique. I was like, wow. But that guy didn't end up working out. So your plan A, Billy West, gone. Your plan B and your C, gone. John at one point was like, well, I guess I should just make Stimpy a mute. Like, I was like, so you are crazy. You are crazy. No, he's not crazy. But, well, yeah, he's crazy. But I was like, wait, he's not going to talk? I was like, that's it. I was like, I can't let this go on anymore.
Uh-oh, it just got stupid. I must admit.
Yeah. I was like, can I try? I asked him, and he's like, can I try? I'll just try. Let me just try. He's like, all right. I guess you can try. So my audition ended up being the first record for Onward and Upward. Like, we did 3 of the first lines, and then and he's like, oh, it's not bad. He's like, you should probably study more and watch these tapes. And then we ended up doing more. And yeah, the funny thing is John's voice got older as time went on, and people are actually more distracted about Ren's voice being off. So that kind of maybe saved me a little bit. But yeah,
I mean, that happens. Like on the new Beavis and Buttheads, it took a little bit for me to get used to the new Beavis.
Really? Wow.
Like Butthead sounded about the same, but Beavis sounded a little different to me.
Right.
I didn't dislike it, but
right. I definitely agree with you. And I have stories about Mike Judge too. Yeah, really good ones. And he's awesome. But yeah, it just ended up being like the same thing. Like, hey, Ren, happy, joy. Yeah, it just ended up being like the Larry.
What's funny is that I think you're better at it now than during.
No.
And I noticed this because afterwards, and you did a Nicktoons baseball game for Wii.
Yeah,
and I think it's. You might have done post adult party cartoon Stimpy professionally and other things.
That was the only time I've ever done Stimpy outside of Adult Party Cartoon that I was like...
And I remember playing it. It's a terrible game.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing you and I'm like, oh, that's an even better Stimpy than Adult Party Cartoon.
Well, thanks, man. I was like, I wonder how... It was literally all the catchphrases, so there wasn't much outside of what we all know those sound bites to be. So I was kind of safe there. But Chris Edgerly did Ren. And he often does stuff on The Simpsons, and but yeah, it was kind of trippy. Again, I will always equate voicing Stimpy as it may have been for Billy West to voice Bugs Bunny.
Right?
Billy will always be Stimpy to me, and everyone knows Mel Blanc to always be Bugs, or vice versa. So, yeah, I will always be thankful for that opportunity, because I think among artists, it definitely gave me a little bit of street cred, at least the funny guy at parties to talk to. Hey, you were Bad Stimpy. Yes, I was.
That's right, I was.
Yeah. But yeah, there's more to Adult Party Cartoon. But if you want to take
actually, yeah, this seems like a solid breaking point. So let's take a pizza break, and then we'll get to the end of Adult Party Cartoon, and then to El Tigre probably.
Yeah.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right.
I don't wanna be a therapist, not on my list, I'm no analyst. I don't wanna be an astronaut, no I do not, I gave it thought. I don't wanna be a governor, push and shoving her, no loving her. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I wanna clean up around here. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I'll mop and it'll be my career. I don't wanna be a fireman. It's not my plan. Paul McCartney can. I don't wanna be a football star. That sounds bizarre. I won't get far. I don't wanna be a comptroller. I don't know what a comptroller is. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I wanna clean up around here. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I'll mop and it'll be my career. I don't wanna be an engineer. That's so last year. Think I'll steer clear. I don't wanna be a programmer. Makes me stammer. This is my band hammer. I don't wanna be the president. I'm hesitant. No, I'd resent it. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I wanna clean up around here. I just wanna be a janitor. A janitor. I'll mop and it'll be my career.
I want to hear more about that horse.
Yeah, there's not enough dead horses in your story.
I'm going to end mine with every story. I'll be like,
yeah, then, I started doing that voice, and then a horse died right in front of me. I couldn't believe it.
If it weren't for my dead horse, I wouldn't have spent that year in college.
So I was making a sandwich, and this horse came out of nowhere and started chewing on it and choked and died.
Is that your Peter Griffin?
yeah. That's all I'm going to do for the rest of it.
Okay, so let's talk about the end of Adult Party Cartoon.
Yes, it was the end, and it didn't take too long.
Well, but let me say something first, just because as a fan, I was so excited for this because, from my point of view, it's like I've been wondering for years what would have happened if John could have just gotten to do the cartoon he wanted to do with no restrictions or whatever, and now it seemed like we're finally going to get to see what that was, and some of the episodes of that I really liked a lot, and your Stimpy I thought was dead on. It was
thanks.
But yeah, so it's like not all of it was great, but some of it I really, really loved, and I'm so happy that it existed.
Thanks.
So yeah,
I feel like there were definitely some good moments, and I feel like there were. I mean, just some of the background paintings alone for me were just like breathtaking. I actually got to see a lot of these. I actually own like some of the art from that show, but I got to see them create it in Canada and some of it here in LA. Actually, towards the end of Adult Party Cartoon, I could actually end on a high note. But the art was great. I feel like having no filter was the mistake. I feel like having the censor there is what keeps things clever. Also, mind you, this was a show that was created post Jackass the movie. So you already have human beings doing things that they did in the original run of Ren and Stimpy and Beavis and Butthead in like live. Like you have a guy like Steve-O putting a tube up his butt and farting in someone else's face. So why would you need to see an animated version of that? It just doesn't make... You've already pushed the boundaries with a movie like Jackass. So something like an adult... And thinking about it too, this kind of like predates Adult Swim. There wasn't like such a weird demand. If there was a demand for adult cartoons, you kind of have to find it on your own and on DVD or some other.
Yeah, that was really just ramping up. Like they were just starting to let Space Ghost use some cuss words.
Yeah, it was kind of like a weird time. Because
it's like I think like Aqua Teen had started by then. I think there was a few Adult Swim shows, but they weren't so much adult as they were just we're going to let them be as weird as they want, and it was more about being weird than about being adult content. But it was the thing I remember that killed Well, I mean, you could. It could be argued that the quality of the shows weren't that great on Spike's animation block, but the whole Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake thing happened,
my gosh.
and then the FCC brought the hammer down on anything that was slightly. Heck, even Dr. Demento had to edit some Word Quartet songs because he was still on the radio because they were just watching. Yeah, they were watching everything like a hawk all of a sudden because of the whole Janet Jackson thing.
I love your involvement with Dr. Demento. Like you've been a part of like that whole scene since the beginning, or
well, no, since I started getting involved in around. Very beginning was 96. I started becoming a more regular in around 2001, 2002. Yeah. And of course, he was sending songs. He started before I did, right?
Like just before. Like he played one when I was 16. When I was in high school, he played one of my songs. But then there was a huge gap between, because he didn't start playing my stuff again until I became part of the Thump.
Yeah, because me and some other friends started this website called the Funny Music Project, thefump.com, which kind of organized a whole lot of us like-minded comedy music makers into one website, which Dr. D just loved. It's like, oh, he knows he can go there every week and get 2 new free comedy songs and decide if he wants to play them or not. And then we brought Kyle into that fold, and then it just that's when you really got super productive with your music, and you were cranking out 1 or 2 new songs a month. So
see, I told you I'd turn the podcast on you guys.
See, that's what not having a job will bring you.
You're listening to the Bauza podcast. My guests today
later I want to play for you because I did. Do you remember the Public Enemy and Anthrax did that version of Bring the Noise back in like 1991? Yeah. I did a parody of that about Ren and Stimpy called Bring the Joy.
No.
So and it was done. And it was done. I released it in 2005. So it was
cool.
How far after that? Like 2 years after Adult Party Cartoon. Yeah. But it was very much like meant to be like celebrating, like because at the time I'm thinking Ren and Stimpy's back, and it wasn't back for long. But I wanted to do it anyway, just as a fan.
I appreciate the support, man.
So yeah. But
It was a very, very odd show to be on, and that it happened. So my ending story on Adult Party Cartoon was one of the last things I had to do was deliver a videotape, like a beta 3/4 inch, a broadcast quality tape, for an episode called Fire Dogs 2,
right,
starring Ralph Bakshi as the fire chief. So Ralph Bakshi, as you know, was avant-garde animation director, Lord of the Rings, Fritz the Cat,
Cool World.
There's Cool World. All the raunchy exploitation, like risque kind of cartoons that, I guess inspired John to a point, and they worked together on the Mighty Mouse cartoons.
Right.
So, as an homage to Ralph, he included him to appear in the sequel to Fire Dogs, which was actually the first Ren and Stimpy I ever saw as a kid. I didn't know that they were a cat and a chihuahua. I always thought they were Dalmatians until the paint came off. But so the whole thing was deliver this tape. Because I don't know, because FedEx was not, because FedEx wasn't thought out yet. I'm like, you can easily express mail this. It'll be there tomorrow. They're like, no, we want to put it.
No, it's fine. Send the voice actor.
Yeah, we want to put it in your hands and deliver it because we're coming up short on time. There's audio missing here. We have to film this live action bumper where Ralph Bakshi appears on the Honeymooners set. I don't know if you ever remember this, because the cartoon was short, so they had to figure out how to fill in that time. And how do you do that?
Of course, John's never made a cartoon before. Why would it be the right length?
Yeah. How do you fill in the time? Oh, I know. We'll build like a fake Honeymooners set, and we'll let Ralph Bakshi appear live action to introduce the cartoon, and no one will think it's weird. and we'll do it in the Nickelodeon, where they used to have it used to be a gym. It used to be an auditorium in the Nickelodeon building in Burbank.
Right.
So for the first time since my internship, I fly back to Los Angeles. So it's 1999, 2000 when I did my internship, and push the clocks forward now to 2004, 2005, I guess. But was Adult Party Cartoon?
2003.
2003. So the end of it, though. So, 4...
Right.
4.5. And I'm here in LA again. I'm like, holy crap. I'm at Nickelodeon. Wow, this is crazy. And I'm going to meet Ralph Bakshi. And on this tape is footage of animated Ralph Bakshi on the toilet taking a crap. And so I'm about to meet Ralph, and I'm sitting there with the tape, and I see Kevin. And we put the tape in, we get it ready for Ralph to see. And the door swings open. He like kicks the door open. It's Ralph Bakshi. He's like 8 feet tall, like a shaved grizzly bear. And he goes. The first thing he does is he like enters the room like trying to get a king size sofa through a tiny single size like doorway. And he's like buckling at the seams. And he looks down at me and he goes, "Who the F are you?" And I was like, "Ah!" I started crying. It's like, "Oh, my name's Eric. John told me to deliver this tape. Don't kill me." So he's like, "All right, put the tape in." So I press play on the tape, and it's just footage. I'm watching this man for the first time see footage of his animated self crapping on a toilet that's about to air in like a day or two. And he leaves the room upset. But I'm like, you saw the storyboards. You made these noises that we have to... It's like, you knew that you were going to be animated. Because think about it. You say yes to everything, and then maybe it hit him at that point, like, what was I thinking? I'm going to be pooping on live television and animated? Like, he freaked out. Like, Ralph, he was like, this can't be on TV. But John's
So
like...
what, his reputation? He's Ralph freaking Bakshi?
Yeah. He's like, this can't go on air. What will they think of me?
The Fritz the Cat guy can't be seen crapping on TV.
Yeah. So that wasn't even the end of it, though. So he calms down and talks to John, and John's like, "You ready? Let's just do it. It's going to be hilarious." It's like, "Well, fine. Let's go get lunch. I want Mexican food." So we go to a local, dive Mexican restaurant, and I proceed to watch him eat a plate of nachos. And watching Ralph Bakshi eat a plate of nachos is like taking a plate of nachos and throwing it into your washing machine. So you have a plate of nachos, right? And you throw it into the front of the washing machine.
I hear he's part Cookie Monster.
Yeah. There is no hole in the back of his throat, like Cookie Monster. So whatever he eats just gets mashed around and starts coming out of his mouth, like all over the table. And he's smoking a cigarette. We're outside of the patio. So he's smoking, taking like a plate of nachos. And he's like, "Oh yeah, these are the best nachos." But it was like watching like a washing machine. It was like throwing nachos in a cement mixer. And then the cement mixer tips and starts spitting it all out again. And that's the end of my adult party cartoon story. That's all I have.
They wouldn't let you back into Canada after that.
No, and that was also the same week I started seeing a therapist. But yeah, that was that. It was, again, an experience that I thank God for podcasts. Because I was like, who am I going to tell this to? I know. Kyle and Luke.
So I remember seeing LT Gray, wondering who played White Pantera, looking at the credits and going, "Holy crap, Bauza went legit."
Yeah.
So what happened?
Went American.
What happened between Adult Party Cartoon and LT Gray?
6-point harness.
Okay.
Yeah. That's when I started working as an actual character layout artist. That's where all the years of browbeating from John paid off as an artist. And they always knew that I wanted to be an actor, and we were just talking about how hard it is to be an actor in this town, whether it be on camera or behind a microphone. And even as a voice actor that has a 13-minute demo reel of nothing but useless impressions that no one will hire you for, it's hard to get your foot in the door. And if it weren't for 6-point harness, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, which is full-time voiceover. Because at that time, they allowed me to leave the studio to go on auditions. And they allowed me to, as long as you hand your scenes in, as long as your scenes go into the server, that's all we care about. So there was a period of time where, and of course, Jorge and Sandra, who created LT Gray, hired me after after everyone auditioned for it, and I mean Tom Kenny auditioned for White Panther, everyone auditioned for it, and they were like trying to not let me book it because they're like, "Who is this guy? Like, is he gonna kill us? Is he gonna kill us?" No, I'm not gonna kill you.
Okay, so here, I always like to get into this because, like, we all got SAG cards and we got SAG cards in weird ways, I guess. How did you have yours at that point? Because this would have been a union gig.
Yeah, mine. I actually got mine on Los Campañones, which was Eddie Mort and Lily Chin, who created Lucha Lucha for Warner Brothers. They actually hired me to do voices on like their animated film, which got me into AFTRA, and then it was a shoo-in from there. I just it was kind of like before they merged,
right?
So thank God for them. There's a lot of thank God for them moments in my journey to being a full-time voice actor. So between 2005 and 2007 was the 6 Point Harness years. Titmouse was another very supportive and very vocal studio, the sister studio, I'd say, to someone like 6 Point. They love each other. They're great. And they also hired me on shows like Super Jail and G.I. Joe Resolute, actually. That was the first thing that I did after LT Gray, which was Hasbro's 14 and up attempt at a grittier G.I. Joe. Like, there was actual blood. Like, people actually got hurt. They weren't just laser guns with bad
Sergeants were actually slaughtering.
Yeah.
Give him the stick. Don't give him the stick.
The lasers were penetrating.
Yeah. No, there were bullets.
You mean there weren't little parachuted men after every plane explosion?
No, yeah. Cobra! But, retreat! Yeah, that was 2007, and pretty much there was a point in time where I was voicing on LT Gray, and I would have to drive back to 6 Point to draw scenes on LT Gray.
Oh, okay.
Because they took on some episodes as freelance, and I was doing character layout. I made sure every White Pantera scene looked really great. It was the weirdest thing I've ever done, and as you can relate, you spend some time in the booth, and you go back to your office, and you're like, oh crap, I'm trying myself.
Yep.
Yeah. What a trippy experience. I may actually still have some Flash. I think it was Flash 5 scenes. I don't know what they're up to at Flash now, but
it probably still opens.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
My favorite old school hip hop group, the Flash 5.
Flash 5, yeah. So I remember, though, the last gig that I worked on as a character layout artist was on a show called Good Vibes, which was the show that they made. They paired up with the Return of Beavis and Butthead. And Brad Ableton, a longtime Simpsons artist, created that show. And I think he's working with Bento on that Lincoln Heights Comedy Central cartoon right now. I'm not sure.
Oh, I know. What you're talking about.
So basically, I remember that show being it was Josh Gad and who else was on it? There were a couple other. Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey, was on it. Like, they tried to make a really great show, and I had a lot of fun drawing on it. But I remember that moment where I was like, okay, I'm not doing voiceover. El Tigre is canceled. My dreams are over. I was like, what am I going to do? I felt like the guy at Taco Bell that gets the taco and puts the lettuce in it, and then he hands it off to the guacamole guy.
Times awful.
Yeah. I was just like, I don't know. I'm not getting the same joy and passion out of this as I would be if I were doing full-time voice acting. But I don't have anything to go to. So I actually just ended up quitting without any leads for voices or acting gigs. And I think that's the kind of pressure that you put on yourself, as you will now find out, to get the gigs that you actually really want to do. So,
now I've been there. I got fired from a job, which kind of set me on the path to actually getting accomplished what I wanted to get accomplished.
Right. Yeah. And it's like you pay your dues and you do the things that, that could possibly lead to something.
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not talking about an animation job. I'm talking about like
Oh, okay.
a civilian gig.
Right. But yeah, I mean,
No, Magic Swords is already a thing by the time I got fired off of SpongeBob.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure.
good to know.
I worked on SpongeBob.
I worked on the second SpongeBob. I got fired off the second SpongeBob movie, and I love saying that. It's kind of like how T.J. Miller likes to credit himself as being T.J. Miller from Yogi Bear in 3D.
Yeah.
So I'm like, hi, I'm Kyle Carrozza. I got fired off the second SpongeBob movie.
Every time he references it, though, he calls it Yogi the Bear.
Yogi the Bear in 3D.
Yeah. I worked on that movie, Yogi the Bear in 3D. The best thing I ever worked on.
Okay, so the timeline, like, so I was on Fanboy and Chum Chum. You started like picking up a few voices on that.
Yep, Eric Robles.
And around then you were up for a major role on 2000, what ended up being the 2012 version of Turtles. That you didn't get. You got roles on that later, but you didn't get this particular major role that you were up for.
That was Raphael. I was the fourth person to voice Raphael.
You were the fourth. Oh God. Okay.
I remember meeting the kid that they ended up casting. He was like a Disney kid, and I remember like he was a kid, but like when he talked, I was like, "Is there an old smoking man behind me?" Like, "Hi, how are you?" And I was like, "Wow, this guy's gonna be Raphael." And sure enough, he got cast. I did not get cast as any of the Turtles, and I was like, "That's life." And I still.
Like it was far long enough though that I got to like hear you in the pilot.
Oh yeah. So you did hear it. You heard it.
Yeah, I was on Fanboy at the time, and they like put us all in the gym, and we got to watch the pilot, and I friggin' loved it.
Wow, man, wow. So you actually, I saved like the cover sheet of like there was a fan event where they flew 12 fans from around the world to watch us table read Ninja Turtles, and at that time, the two exec producers that were kind of like actually moved off the show after I was moved off the show. So I was like, wait, I'll give you another chance. But it was water under the bridge at that point for me. But I remember the note being that I sounded a lot like Jason Biggs, like the tone of my voice. And I can kind of hear it. There's kind of like a certain edge to his voice and a certain edge to mine that putting someone like Sean Astin in, who has like a thicker, gruffer voice, but has like the spirit of like a kid. You know, he's essentially going to be the Goonie forever for me. He's
right.
You know, he's Mikey. You know, Mikey the Goonie, not Mikey the Turtle. But he's awesome. I thought that was an amazing choice to put Sean Astin in as Raph, and he killed it. I thought he did a great job. I thought he did a fantastic job. Jason Biggs ended up leaving the show. He actually ended up not being Leo down the road, and then they replaced him with Seth Green. I ended up being one of a new bad guy. Actually, I played several bad guys on the show, but Tiger Claw.
Most notably Tiger Claw.
Yeah, you know, Rocksteady and Bebop have always been like the goons, and they've always been the dumb ones and comic relief. They were the bulk and skull of the show. Yeah. But that's my favorite song. Everywhere I walk, I want that to be. Every time a bird poops on my shoulder.
Have I had you on an episode with Polly yet? Who played Bulk? He's been on the show several times.
No.
Yeah.
What? That's insane.
I'll start boarding it right now.
But
When Phil met Flunk.
Yeah. But yeah, being Tiger Claw, a character that Brandon Auman had devised and Ciro designed, and it was like the more serious henchman to the more serious Shredder that Kevin Michael Richardson provided, and it was kind of cool because he's an original character, and I always say this in any time I talk about it. I'm like, I want in a version of Turtles like a few years from now, you know, remakes happen like next week. Like there's a remake of a remake happening now, but I would love for someone else to do Tiger Claw's voice. I would love to be the first guy that did it, and I would love 12 other people to do it. It's like,
yeah, I mean, for me, there's a certain kind of thrill with things like that, like hearing the foreign language versions of characters I play.
Yeah.
Like, I got to see the whole first episode in Japanese, which was the best.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you ever try to contact the person? Someone had contacted
I found
me.
them on Twitter.
Okay.
And I don't think they knew what to do with me.
Someone found me on Twitter that was like the Netherlands, the Dutch version of like Belly Bag and Beduce on Breadwinners, and then could speak great English and was like, oh my god, like I
would love it if one of the dub actors contacted me. That would be,
Yeah.
I think I saw a picture once of Billy Farmer and like two foreign language goofies having lunch or something.
Oh really?
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's the weirdest thing ever.
But yeah, so when I met you on when I was on Fanboy and Chum Chum, and you had just not gotten Turtles.
Yeah.
It was like you were kind of like you'd like chosen to do voice acting full time at that point, but were kind of struggling.
Yeah.
And it was not long after that it was just like, now it's just all Bauza all the time, and you were just on freaking everything.
Yeah.
What happened between when I knew you then and just a couple of years later?
I don't know. I honestly don't know, and it's funny. Andrea Romano, who is retiring soon, I actually just found out I'll be her last session ever.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I might take my hat off for that one. I might shower that day. I may wear a suit. I'm probably going to wear a tuxedo to that. No joke. I'll wear a tuxedo to the last of her session. And if look her up, and she's been the voice director for so many great cartoons. And LT Gray was actually the first time I worked with her. And Puss in Boots presently, and Tiger Claw. So I always say we have a thing with cats. I've played nothing but cats for her, and I'm allergic to cats. I may die on the ride home. Thanks a lot, Cubert. Peter, you've been... Yeah, I've been here the whole time. When am I going to get to talk? Loudmouth Bowser. I want to do a voice on Magisaurus. Mine would be the best.
So, like, if the Orville takes off and Seth MacFarlane just doesn't have time to do Family Guy.
No way, that would never happen. Because we all know Seth has, like, clones of himself. But anyways, I was talking about Andrea Romano. And you were asking me about what happened. What was the switch?
Yeah, what made you...
She talks about it. She's like, I don't know what happened to you. She's like, there's a time where you weren't that great, and then suddenly you're okay. I was like, okay. If Larry David were here, that's probably what he'd say. It's like, you're okay. Now you're pretty good. But like, it happened. I don't know what happened. I honestly don't know. And I honestly believe it's like, it was the non-training, on G.I. Joe Resolute. I worked on it, and the note that I got back from my agent was, the director thinks that you're nice, and that you're great, and that you do, like, nice voices, but you're a horrible actor. And then I was like, X-ray, heart shatters into 1,000 pieces, but that's the thing you need to hear to be, like, that much more ambitious and up your game and go, okay, well, how do I learn? How do I just continue to, obviously be nice to the people that you work with, because even though you may not be at the level that they're at, that'll come in time, and if you're nice, then they'll have you in, and, they'll understand. And I feel like that's kind of what happened with me. Like, people like you, you know what I mean? You gave me a shot on your show, and I'll always be thankful for that. But yeah, I don't know if I could. I'm just trying to think back, like, what were the things that I was booking in a row that kind of got me on a roll, and
it also might be, on that note, worth talking about what you were doing extracurricularly. Like, I know you were doing a lot of, like, crazy Channel 101 projects and things like that.
Carlos Elizraki and Harlan Williams. You guys know Harlan Williams?
Yeah.
He's actually a cartoonist as well. He's got his own show now on Disney Junior called Puppy Dog Pals.
That's his?
That's his show.
I didn't know that was his.
Yeah. I think he was like a Sheridan animation student.
Yeah, I heard that about him.
But he was
also oddly cousins with Kevin from Bare Naked Ladies.
Really? Yeah. Don't they have a band or something like that?
Called The Cousins.
Yeah. Those Canadians, they're so clever. But I remember, like, meeting him through Matt Danner, because they had tried to pair up on some stuff in Danner's early Warner Brothers days, and I remember because I'm a Canadian, and as soon as us Canadians get together, it's like, oh yeah, you're a Canadian, huh? Oh, you like to do voices or something? Okay, why don't you try your hand at stand-up? I was like, I don't know about that. It's like, yeah, I'm doing a show at Long Beach Laugh Factory. Why don't you? And when he's on, he looks like a Frankenstein when he's on stage, like Universal's Frankenstein.
No, I love his stand-up because he just like starts making up weird terms of endearment for everyone in the audience.
Yeah.
Hey there, Johnny Twinkle Butts.
Yeah. Hey there. He doesn't like shaking hands. He goes, come on, there, pound the potato. He like puts his little.
Hey
fist
there,
up.
my little sea breeze.
Yeah, little sea breeze.
Insane Clown Posse made a movie called Big Money Hustlers, and he plays a cop in it.
Really?
Wait, didn't he play a cop in Dumb and Dumber?
Yes. Yeah. Who drinks pee?
Yeah.
But yeah, it was him and Carlos Alazraqui that kind of like said, try to do stand up, and that was like a fun time. But it was one of those things.
Well, here's what I was going to get at, because Rob Paulson's always talking about how most of the people in stand up have had a significant amount of stage time.
Yeah.
And there you go. You got your stage time, and then all of a sudden your career starts blowing up.
Just trying different things, I guess. It's almost like you're trying to misdirect your attention from one thing, so you stop thinking about it so hard. And then, like the other day, I had an audition at Nickelodeon, and I walked out of there going, I blew it! Eating my frosted mini wheats in a cup. I was like, at least I got these frosted mini wheats from the kitchen. It's like, I'm so Filipino, I bring Ziploc bags everywhere. And I'm like, I go to McDonald's, I'll have 30 ketchups, please. I'm not going to use them all now, but they'll be in my fridge for a while. But yeah, I got a call back for it. I just learned today that I'm going back in on Friday to mess it up again. Woo! Yeah, so, but yeah, I think it's a combination of fear and maybe not caring. And then something happens, yeah. So don't wear your seatbelts when you drive, guys. That's what I'm saying.
If you've learned nothing else today.
Just go through that windshield. Just kidding. Don't do that. Don't do that. Wear a helmet and a neck brace, even if your neck doesn't hurt. Like Ernest. Jim Varney, R.I.P.
I know exactly what character you're talking about.
Look it up, kids. Google it. But yeah, I mean, that's more or less. I mean, I don't know if there's anything else like that brings us closer to present in voiceover and in life. I got a kid. I bought him a goldfish today. Yeah. I'll send you the video.
Please do.
Well, I made a list of just kind of cherry picking of some stuff, so I don't know. I guess I'll start just going down the list of things I want to mention. You were on Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc.,
Yes.
which is like my favorite version of Scooby-Doo ever, because I grew up watching all the different versions, and like much like Ninja Turtles, like Kyle and I basically feel like the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles is like, let's take the best parts of all the previous versions and make it into one show, and that's what I think Scooby-Doo Mystery Inc. was, and it was like such a good
we've joked
show.
about how like the pitch for that show is like, all right, what if we took Scooby-Doo but made it good?
Yeah. Made it good. Made it cool. Made it like serious a little bit.
So guys, hear me out.
Yeah. Fantastic. The design, like the actors, of course, always, but the situations and the stories. And the episode I came in on was I ended up actually I've done it for a couple versions of this character, but Dr. Quest, which is a Don Messick voice.
I didn't know you were playing Dr. Quest.
I was Dr. Quest on an episode where they discover how Dynamite came to be. The Blue Falcon. So, for whatever reason, there's a security guard that has a dog, and the dog dies, and the security guard, who later becomes the Blue Falcon, and the dog later becomes Dynamite, he brings his dead dog to Dr. Quest, or dying dog, and Dr. Quest is like, well, not on my watch. Yeah. I know if that were Bandit lying there, I would be... Yeah, It was a weird voice that I did for this Dutch pilot that Colette Sunderman cast me in. And the whole time I'm doing this voice, which is the whitest voice that I have in my repertoire, she's like, that sounds like Don Messick. It's so weird. She's like, I'll remember that. And then years later, Mystery Incorporated shows up, and Dr. Quest is there, and I end up doing it, and it was crazy because, it was Troy Baker was Blue Falcon, and he was kind of doing his Christian Bale. It was a Christian Bale take on Blue Falcon. And at the very end, bookending the whole row of actors was Frank Welker. And he was doing Scooby and Fred. And he Colette's like, what do you think? What do you think of this? Because he worked with Don Messick.
Right.
He was there. Don Messick was the original Scooby. And Frank gave me the thumbs up, which was crazy. I was like, oh my god, I'm glad I wore Depends today. Because it's all over me. Yeah, and then I ended up doing Dr. Quest for another thing. They keep saying that they're trying to bring it back in another form, and I hope that I get to be him again. But you can never covet these roles so much that there's going to be
actually on that note. So you've played Marvin the Martian in the Looney Tunes show.
Yes, isn't that lovely? I'm playing him this Thursday for more Converse commercials.
Oh,
yeah, it's like weird. It's so weird. I buy everything that has him on it that I've advertised for out of my own pocket, and I don't care. My son may have to miss a year of school and have crooked teeth for a while. No braces because I bought too many Marvin Converse.
Now they almost did a movie at one point, right?
Yes, this animation director at the brink of the Yogi the Bear 3D movie. There was a time where, like, just as that came out, there was animation tests for Hong Kong Phooey and an animation test for Marvin the Martian, directed by this guy's awesome friend Alex Zam, and he does like a lot of like sequel stuff, family stuff, straight to DVD. But his stuff is always good. I'm a fan, and he loves cartoons. And they asked me to do Marvin for that, so I've actually done Marvin for, I guess, if you count, I guess it's been almost 5 years. I guess. Wow. Which is kind of crazy, because you look at someone like Bob Bergen who's done Porky for like 30 years, and they've never, like, I mean, maybe there's been like a few instances that you can literally count with 2 fingers that someone else did Porky's voice.
Right.
But he is held strong with that character. And
yeah, it seems like they've shuffled almost everyone else around.
Yeah.
Like they had, it seemed like they had Joe Lasky almost always playing Daffy for a long time until he passed on. But every now and then...
I love Joe Lasky's Bugs, though.
His Bugs is pretty good.
He's back in action, Bugs.
I love that. I love that movie. I love that movie so much.
The animation was fantastic. But I mean, his Bugs was so warm. It had the warmth to the Bugs that I think a lot of people miss.
Although, at the same time, I think Billy West is my favorite, like, post-Mel Bugs, because I love all the New York in it.
Yeah.
There's a lot more New York in his Bugs.
Yeah, but also he kind of rapped on the Space Jam album.
Yes, he certainly did.
Bugs. Come on, guys. I know you.
One time I was leaving a Pizza Hut I was leaving a Pizza Hut that the
any story that starts off with "I was leaving a Pizza Hut," I want to know this story.
Right by the door, there's a jukebox, and I saw they had the Space Jam soundtrack. So I put in like $2, and I put Bug in like 8 times in a row, and I laughed.
Who does Bugs Bunny money? I'll give you some time. I get more carrots every time I rhyme. Does a mouse write this? Does he have long furry ears like this?
This is the part of your podcast that spikes in the...
sure. Everybody diss the duck.
Yeah.
Selector, rewind.
Yeah, I have.
Okay, now I just heard you do P. Bradley Baker's Daffy.
Yeah, I have.
That's insane.
Yeah. I have.
Look, I feel pretty comfortable with the size of my voice acting range, but I cannot do specific impressions like that.
By date, by soundtrack, whatever you want. But I remember buying it off of eBay. I remember when that movie came out, Space Jam. I was obsessed, and I mean, getting to do Marvin for a Jordan commercial.